Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into Atsinganosaurus. It's a really interesting dinosaur from the Late Cretaceous.
Absolutely. We've got some great scientific papers to go through.
Yeah, and our plan is basically to pull out the key facts, figure out what makes this particular dinosaur stand out, and, well, there's a hint even in its name. Something intriguing about a journey.
That's right. We're talking about Atsinganosaurus volasiensis. It's a titanosaur, one of those huge, long-necked plant eaters.
Ah, a sauropod, okay.
And the best fossils, the really well-preserved ones anyway, they all come from France, from a layer called the Grès à Reptiles Formation.
France. Late Cretaceous, okay, I'm picturing it.
Specifically in the Aix-en-Provence basin.
Aix-en-Provence. And whereabouts did they actually find these bones?
The spot was Valois-la-Bastide-Neuve. The main digs happened back in 2009 and 2010.
Right.
It was a joint effort between the Paleontology Association and the University of Poitiers.
Okay.
And interestingly, Atsinganosaurus wasn't alone there. They found it alongside another titanosaur, Garrigatitan.
No kidding. Two titanosaurs in the same place.
Yeah, imagine uncovering that. Makes you wonder what that ecosystem was like.
It really does. So these well-preserved remains you mentioned, what exactly are we talking about? What bones gave us the first real look?
Well, the foundation is the holotype specimen. Think of it as the official reference point for the species.
Right, the name bearer.
Exactly. It's cataloged as VBN.93.01.AD. And what it consists of is a set of 4 back vertebrae, posterior dorsal vertebrae, so from near the tail end of the back.
Just 4 vertebrae.
To start with, yes. Geraldine Garcia and her colleagues described them first back in 2010. That work came out in the Bulletin de la Société Géologique de France.
Okay.
And those specific bones, the holotype, they're kept in the collection at the University of Poitiers.
So those 4 bones were the key that unlocked Atsinganosaurus. But I assume we know more now.
Oh, definitely. More digging turned up more pieces. Fast forward to 2018, and Diaz and some collaborators described more finds.
Like what? More vertebrae?
Some skull material, actually. An occipital condyle, that's the knob at the back of the skull connecting to the neck.
Oh.
Also part of the right side of the brain case, and what they think is a left pterygoid, that's a bone from the roof of the mouth area.
So bits of the head starting to emerge.
Yeah, pieces like MMSVBM 0.09.41 and MMSVBN 0.09.167. It helps flesh out the picture.
Bit by bit,
Yep.
literally. Were there other parts of the skeleton found too?
Yeah.
From the body?
Yes, quite a bit more, actually, gathered from several different individuals, not just the holotype.
Right.
There is one specimen, VBN.93.MHNA.99.21, that represents part of this larger collection. We've got more skull bits, several teeth.
Teeth. Always interesting for diet.
Definitely. And vertebrae from all along the spine, neck, back, tail, plus ribs, chevrons, those V-shaped bones under the tail vertebrae,
Okay.
parts of the shoulder girdle, the pelvis, and importantly, most of the arm and leg bones.
Wow. Okay. So starting from just 4 backbones, we now have a much, much fuller skeleton to work with.
Exactly. It gives us a much better handle on what it looked like, potentially how it moved.
Right. Now let's circle back to something you hinted at the name. Atsinganosaurus. You said it was unusual.
It really is. This is where it gets quite interesting. The first part, the genus name Atsinganosaurus, it comes from Greek, either tsignos or akanos.
And what do those mean?
They both mean gypsy.
Gypsy for a dinosaur. That's unexpected. Why? What was the thinking there?
Well, the researchers who named it, Garcia and her team, they suggested it refers to a possible migration.
A migration.
Yeah, specifically a possible migration of this dinosaur's ancestors from east to west across Europe.
Ah, I see. So the name is hinting at this journey, this movement, like the historical migrations associated with the term gypsy.
Precisely. It's a metaphor for potential ancient dispersal based on where related titanosaurs are found. It's not random. It's telling a possible story.
That's fascinating. A name with a hypothesis built right in. Okay, what about the second part, Volasiensis? Is that also symbolic?
Yep. That one's much more straightforward. Volasiensis just refers to the discovery location, Valois-la-Bastide-Neuve.
Ah, okay. Named after the place. Makes sense.
So the full name, Atsinganosaurus volasiensis, tells you what it is, where it was found, and maybe even hints at where it came from. Credited to Garcia et al., 2010.
Right. So for listeners trying to place it, where does Atsinganosaurus sit in the grand scheme of dinosaur classification?
Okay, let's walk up the tree. It's an animal, obviously, so Animalia, a chordate,
Sure.
then Dinosauria. Within dinosaurs, it's a saurischian, one of the lizard-hipped ones.
Okay.
Then Sauropodomorpha, leading to Sauropoda, the classic long necks. Further in, Micronaria, and then, crucially, Titanosauria.
Titanosauria. So definitely one of the later, often enormous sauropods.
Exactly. A very diverse and successful group right up to the end of the Cretaceous.
Which brings us to the big question, size.
Mm.
How massive was Atsinganosaurus?
Well, this is interesting because the estimates have actually changed over time.
Oh, how so?
The initial work in 2018 by Diaz and colleagues again suggested adults were maybe 8 to 12 meters long, possibly maybe even up to 14 meters for the biggest ones found.
That's pretty big. What about weight?
Their initial mass estimate was around 3.5 to 5 metric tons. So, 3,500 to 5,000 kilograms.
Still a hefty animal, but you said initial estimates.
Yes. Because in 2021, the same research group published revised figures.
Ah, science in action. What did they conclude then?
Their updated analysis suggested a length more in the range of 5.38 to 8.95 meters.
Oh, quite a bit shorter then.
Yeah, a noticeable revision. And the mass estimate also came down slightly to between 2.46 and 5.26 metric tons.
Okay, so maybe copping out around 5 tons. Still substantial, but not quite the giant first imagined.
Exactly. And it's a great example of how science refines its understanding as we learn more or apply new methods. The picture gets clearer.
Definitely. So even revised downwards, it's still a significant creature on that landscape. Now think about its relatives. You mentioned Titanosauria. Where does it fit within that group? Any closer connections?
Yes, that same 2018 study did a cladistic analysis basically mapping out the evolutionary relationships.
Okay.
And it grouped Atsinganosaurus together with 2 other European titanosaurs, Ampelosaurus and Lorrainosaurus.
Right, I've heard of the Ampelosaurus.
They proposed putting these 3 into a new subgroup, a clade called Lorrainosaurinae, within the broader Lithostrotia group of titanosaurs.
The Rhinosaurinae. Okay.
Yeah.
So suggesting these European forms shared a more recent common ancestor with each other.
That's the idea. It helps us understand the specifics of titanosaur evolution and diversity in Europe during the Late Cretaceous.
Right. It paints a more detailed regional picture. Okay, let's try and sum this up. We've explored Atsinganosaurus. It's a titanosaur from Late Cretaceous France.
Discovered at Villers-la-Bastide-Neuse.
It has that really evocative name, Atsinganosaurus, the gypsy lizard, hinting at that possible east-west ancestral journey.
A hypothesis embedded in the name, yeah.
And its size, well, maybe not as huge as first thought, was revised to something like 5 to 9 meters and maybe up to 5 tons.
Based on the 2021 estimates, yes. Still a decent size.
And it seems to be closely related to other European titanosaurs like Ampelosaurus and Lorrainosaurus, part of this Lorrainosaurinae group.
Correct. All adding pieces to the puzzle of European dinosaurs just before the end.
It really is a valuable discovery for understanding that specific time and place.
Absolutely. It gives us a clearer view of sauropod diversity in Europe when the dinosaurs' reign was nearing its close.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Like, what could have actually driven that potential migration if it happened? Environmental changes. Competition.
Those are the big questions paleobiogeography tries to answer. We don't know for sure.
And thinking about the site, the Gressa Reptiles Formation. Finding Atsinganosaurus and Garrigattiton together.
Yeah.
What other secrets could still be waiting there? What other stories from that lost world?
There's likely more to find. It definitely fuels the imagination about these incredible animals and the world they walked.
It certainly does. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.